Hello, and welcome back to Rap Cinema. Today we will be talking about a true story of a man who was trapped in the Grand Canyon for 5 days and was forced to cut off his arm. This one is sure to give you chills. Get your backpack on and let's get ready to explore. Enjoy. Spoilers ahead. The movie starts, showing a compilation of city life streets and fast-paced urban environments. We are shown our protagonist, Aron Ralston, driving deep into the desert, into the middle of nowhere. Aron arrives at a campsite, in the middle of the night, and gets into the back of his truck to go to sleep. The next morning, we can see his amazing BMX skills. Essentially a Walmart version of Tony Hawk. He is in the Grand Canyon, exploring like a madman. Until he has an epic fail, and falls face first into a dead plant, but he snaps a cute selfie, and gets back up again to continue on his journey. He takes a break and stops to eat some food and get some water, then continues to travel by foot, traversing the mountains like Spider-Man. He stands at the peak of a hill and observes the empty desert around him. He spots 2 passerbys and stands above them. He asks about where they're going, but they tell him they're lost. He runs down the hill, like he has plungers for feet. He points out the correct direction to go and offers to take him there himself. They are skeptical of his getup, and think he's some sort of serial killer. The girls introduce themselves as Christy and Megan. They agree to let Aron take them to the place they're going. They arrive, but Aron tells them he knows a better way, that is also more fun. We cut to them wedged between 2 walls, moving across like Lara Croft from Tomb Raider, with a big drop below them. Aron, being the psychomaniac he is, drops, and falls into the abyss, being swallowed by the darkness beneath. It is then revealed he landed in a small lake of water. He encourages the other girls to follow behind. They freak out, but eventually gather the courage to let go. They continue to cannonball into the water, over and over again, enjoying the water activities. They swim and mess around for a while before continuing their hike. They all take a photo together and the girls invite Aron to a party the following day. The girls then take off on their own way, and Aron continues on his hike, running away full of energy. He's loving life, listening to his tunes on his headphones. He does a bit of climbing and goes deep into a crevasse, taking some photos along the way. He encounters a big drop, with a huge boulder in front of him, that he kicks to make sure it's stable. While climbing down, the boulder falls, and it wedges between his arm and the wall. Initially, Aron stands frozen, unable to move his arm, as he stands in disbelief. He tries to move his arm, but the boulder is wedged in good. Again, he puts a bit more effort, exerting himself heavily, but again, the boulder doesn't move. At this stage, the panic starts to set in, and the pace gets a bit faster, as he continues to barge his body into the boulder, with no progress being made. Intense music starts to build in the background as Aron tries multiple ways, and continues to struggle and freak out that his arm is stuck. Aron collects himself and takes a break. He takes off his backpack, and takes out his bottle of water, which he only has about half of left. He shouts the girls' names, but as the camera pans out, his impending doom is highlighted, showing how deep and far away he is away from anyone in the outside world. He sets his gear on top of the boulder in front of him, and tries to tackle the situation with a better plan. His gear consists of a watch, a water bottle, food, climbing gear, a sucky straw, a camera, car keys, a headlamp and a multi-tool pocket knife. He puts on his headlamp and gets to work trying to carve away at the boulder, trying to chip the rock to make space. He has now been stuck for over an hour, but plows on ahead. He drops the knife because of an oopsie doopsie. He tries to reach down for it but can't. He takes off his shoe and sock and holds a stick between his toes, and eventually manages to hook the knife. Those are some serious skills. He celebrates with a small victory, but still remains stuck. He presses his thumb into the blade, showing how blunt it is. It transitions to night, showing Aron still stuck, but carving away at the rock. He has now been stuck for nearly 9 hours. He takes another sip of water, further depleting his stores. He tries to throw his climbing gear to the top, failing multiple times, but gets it eventually. It allows his weight to rest back so that he can have a nap. He dreams about how he fell, and wishes he could undo it. He continues through the night after sleeping for a while. It turns morning, and he sees a raven fly over the top of him. Sunlight then enters the crevasse, and he takes off his socks so he can get some sun. He desperately feels the sun on the rock and takes as much of it in as he can. He remembers back to the time when he was a child, when his dad used to take him hiking around the Grand Canyon, showing him all the amazing sights to be seen. Aron uses his camera to record a diary entry of himself. He tells the camera he is stuck in Blue John Canyon, and tells them his details and family relatives, almost as if he knows he is most likely going to die himself. He shows his trapped arm and that he can't move it, and proceeds to explain that he's low on supplies. Some rocks crumble down on him, and he starts to scream for help as he thinks there's someone above him, but there is no reply. He puts the camera away and looks not the happiest, trying to convince himself to not go crazy. Daytime passes, and the temperature drops rapidly. Aron tries to wrap himself with as much as possible to keep himself warm, and decides to put on some tunes to keep him straight. He takes out his burrito to munch on, and starts to remember about the party the girls invited him to. He sees the Scooby-Doo and starts to imagine all the drinks because of how thirsty he is. He takes a sip and looks into the depths of his bottle, realizing he doesn't have much water left. We see a flashback, just before Aron left to go on his trip. His mom calls, and it goes to voicemail because he ignores her. He remembers how he went to the copy shop to print the directions out, and he doesn't tell his colleague where he's going when he asks. We are then shown footage of the real Aron Ralston the day he left. Aron gets back to work the next day, and tries to make a pulley. He ties it around the boulder and continues to leverage his weight to lift it off. He tries creating a loop to use his body weight. Everything he seems to do has no use. He hallucinates further, imagining making his way back to his car, where he left a bottle of Gatorade that he decided not to take. What are the chances? He imagines all the amazing drinks, and continues to salivate as he looks to the sky. He opens his bottle to take a drink, but then has to let the river flow and takes a leak. He puts his camera back on and explains how he tried to use the pulley. He explains the issue of the gear, and the friction of the boulder. He says it would be easy to get out of, all he needs are a bunch of power tools and 8 strong men, implying that he is screwed. He doesn't have much water left. He collected his urine to give him something to drink if he runs out of water. He continues to talk to the camera and tell it about the bird that flies over the crevasse every morning, and that he only gets a few minutes of sunlight. He keeps trying to hack away at the boulder but gets fed up. He attaches some rope to his arm for a tourniquet and ties it really tight. Aron attempts to cut into his skin, but the blade is too blunt and barely makes a dent. He remembers back to his time being a child, when he got a camera for Christmas, and it was all happy with the family. Aron now looks half dead and dehydrated. He takes a sip of water, but while taking out his contact lens, he drops the bottle and spills some water, screwing him even more. Aron has another memory of when he was younger in a blizzard, in car with 10 or more naked people. Strange. He then has a vision of him lying in bed with who we presume to be his wife or girlfriend. Aron snaps out of it when a huge thunderstorm happens. It starts to rain, and Aron opens his bottle so that he can fill it. The rain becomes heavier, and starts to flood the crevasse, pulling Aron down. Aron starts to drown, but the boulder comes loose, and he is freed. He walks the whole way back to his car and drives to his girlfriend/wife's house. He knocks the door, but when she comes to it, she just stands in front of him. Aron tries to talk, but no words come out and she shuts the door. It turns out Aron was hallucinating the whole time, as he cries and begs for help, still stuck to the boulder. The next morning Aron goes a bit crazy and starts to record himself and talk as if he's on a TV show. Aron keeps talking back and forward with himself, pretending to interview himself, and analyzing his situation. He discusses the fact that even if his friend from work files a missing person report, that the police won't even make it official for another 24 hours. To make things worse, Aron highlights the fact that he didn't even tell anyone where he was going, making it virtually impossible for anyone to even find him. He says his goodbyes to his family, and turns off the camera. He takes a drink from his bottle, getting every last drop out that he can. He starts to feel his heart beat strangely, and in a moment of pure adrenaline, he stabs himself in the arm. He pushes the knife farther down, realizing the issue of his bone being in the way, making it a problem. Being so desperately thirsty, he puts some of the blood in his mouth. That night, since he has no water left, he decides to drink his urine, struggling as he does so. Yum. He watches the videos he made a few days ago, when he was swimming with the girls. He etches his name into the wall, coming to terms with his situation, and preparing himself for death. Aron hallucinates again and starts to hear noises around him. He flashes his camera and sees a big Scooby-Doo, jump scaring him. The day passes, as he watches planes fly above his head, showing the time passing. He remembers where his girlfriend left him, at a basketball game. At this point, Aron is on the edge of death, and keeps seeing things that aren't really there, his life flashing before his eyes. We see his family, sitting in front of him, as he is ready to move on. His sister appears, which he was supposed to be going to her wedding soon, and he apologizes since he knows he will be dead. He understands that this point in his life is a challenge, and that the rock in front of him was destined to challenge him in this very moment. His camera runs out of battery, and he falls flat on the boulder closing his eyes. And he sees a boy in front of him, watching. It's his future son, and he sees himself playing with him. The little boy walks around, looking at his dad. Before Aron can give up, in his last moments of life before he closes his eyes, he musters up the strength and breaks his arm in one place. Now there's no going back, he pushes even harder, breaking the last bone in his forearm. He screams in thrill and excitement and is ready to do this. With intense music playing in the background, he focuses up and pulls out the small knife of his multi-tool. He pierces his skin and starts to cut away at his arm. Aron powers ahead, slicing all the muscle and arteries, until he reaches a nerve, causing a lot of pain. This is the hardest part for him, as every time he gets near it, it causes excruciating pain. In one movement, he takes the knife and pulls the nerve out, sending him into a broken state. He composes himself and continues to cut, the music growing faster and faster, building maximum tension, until finally Aron pulls free from the rock. He stands and watches, completely shattered and destroyed. With the little energy that he has left, he gathers from what he can with his single arm and creates a makeshift sling from the bag he has. Using his camera, he takes a photo of his severed arm, still stuck in the rock. He is the ultimate winner. Aron pushes forward, falling and stumbling around. He continues through the crevasse, it proving to still be a difficult challenge. He encounters a drop and throws himself down it, continuing forward. He makes it out and finds himself in the bright sun. Aron screams in excitement, and nearly falls off the cliff edge. Upon looking down, he sees a puddle of dirty water. He turns around and sees a bolt placement for climbers. Aron is so happy and shows his appreciation by kissing the bolt. Using the rope, Aron rappels down, and when he reaches the floor, he plants himself in the dirty water. He drinks it as he is desperately thirsty and can't wait any longer. Aron keeps walking, dealing with the pain as he goes. He falls over, nearly dead, but gets up and keeps going. In the distance Aron spots people walking, and shouts out for help as he waves his arm in the air. The family rush towards him, and Aron explains what happened to him and how he had to cut his arm off. They give him water, and they all continue forward. They continue to find more and more people, giving food and water to Aron. The sand starts to move around, and Aron looks up to find a rescue helicopter descending down. They board the helicopter and take off. Aron has been saved and can now relax. The movie ends, showing a compilation of the same fast-paced city life environments, and a bunch of clips of Aron being interviewed. Finally, we can see the real Aron Ralston, happily married with his wife, and his son that he had hallucinated, making his premonition come true. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe and remember to turn on notifications to get the best rap cinema updates.